Jai Jagannath, here we are. Radhe Radhe. Jai Shri Krishna, we are studying Bhagavad Gita. Actually, last time we reached up to verse 9 of the chapter 7, but I would like to go a few steps back because this is a very interesting group of verses that is quite long. So in the 7th chapter, Krishna starts giving Arjuna is asking, how can we meditate on God? So Krishna is presenting the best type of meditation to actually understand and realize, perceive God as a transcendental existence, the essence of the existence of everything. Now, many people have a material vision of God, so they think that God is a limited, material, ordinary personality, just a bit more powerful than others. So they think that the Supreme Person is just more powerful than the other persons, or older, but that's not the case. God is not limited by time, space, and individuality. So, when Arjuna is asking Krishna, how should we meditate on you, Krishna is not telling him about the Rasa Lila. Because people who contemplate the Rasa Lila without having a proper understanding of Atman, Brahman, and Paramatma will actually not be able to contemplate the real Rasa Lila. They will see some projection of their mind in which they put the characters, carry the names Radha and Krishna, but they're not really seeing the real Radha Krishna. So this is important because in the Bhagavata Purana, the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, we have the Krishna Lila, but the Krishna Lila is always accompanied, is always supported by constant remembering, constant reminders of the transcendental nature of Krishna and Radha. So we cannot make the mistake of thinking that these are two ordinary people who are playing. Now the problem is that the popularization that has been happening in the last decades through the TV serials and presentations and films and everything shows the Leela of Radha and Krishna, and the narration is supported not by philosophical elaborations but by commercial advertisement. So we have a lot of advertisement commercials during the TV broadcast. So instead of actually understanding who is Krishna, we are reminded of material sense gratification and material identification. So we end up with very weird ideas. So this is so important why, somehow we ended up in the month of Kartik, reading these explanations given directly by Krishna to Arjuna. So in Bhagavad Gita. So they are very authoritative. It's not just some Mayavadi impersonalist, arid scholar who is just, imagining the impersonal Brahman. This is Krishna talking. So the verse 7 says, O Dhananjaya, Arjuna, there is absolutely nothing superior to me. But why? Not because nobody is as big as Krishna, but because everything rests on me, like pearls are strung on a thread. So it's not a duality, but it is a integration. Everything is manifestation of the Leela of Krishna. So the next verse, verse 8, Krishna says, O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the radiance of the moon and of the sun. I am the Pranava Ankara in all the Vedas. I am sound in space and capability in human beings. So as we were saying last time, these are all indications of the true essence, the true meaning. We could say the dharma or the ritu of everything that exists in the world. So the taste of water is because the water is liquid. The liquidity is important to transfer the taste of everything to the sense of taste. Because if our mouth is dry and the food we are eating is dry, we cannot taste anything. It's just like cardboard. Nothing has any taste. So the food we are eating has taste because of the content in water, because it contains some amount of water. Or anyway, the water is provided by our mouth in the form of saliva. So if we're eating, let's say, for example, potato chips, which in Britain they're called crisps, just to understand. They're dry, they're salty, but what happens is when we put a piece in our mouth produces water. So from our body the water is coming, so it gives us the a capacity, the ability of tasting, of perceiving the taste. So without water, there is no taste. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Anytime you have any doubt, please stop me. Okay. So,
Yeah.
the radiance of the moon and of the sun, this of course doesn't mean that Krishna is saying that the moon has its own light, but whether it reflects the light of the sun or whether we can say it's the light of the moon, but it is very radiant. Because when the moon or the sun are shining, the moon in the night and the sun in the day, we see the light, we can see things. So our eyes are able to work because of the radiance. So we can perceive the moon and the sun as well as everything else, including ourselves, only because of the radiance of the moon and the sun. So just like the water is connected to the sense of taste, the light is connected to the sense of eyesight, to our eyes. So the eyes are so important, and when we want to meditate on God, for example, the Gayatri Mantra is a meditation on the light of the sun that represents the radiance of God. You know the Gayatri Mantra?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is Bhur Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varanyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. So Savitur is Savitar. Savitar is the sun. Varanyam Bhargo. It's a radiance, a splendor, the light. Devasya, it means of God. So the sun, the Surya, the sun that we see, that is rising every day, is the radiance of God, which is again confirmed here. So why we chant the Gayatri mantra to meditate on God? Because we can see the light of the sun. We can see the light of the moon. If there are no clouds and the air is clear, we can see it. Then he said, I am the Pranava Ankara in all the Vedas. Why Krishna is saying that God is the Pranava Ankara in all the Vedas? Because the Pranava Ankara, the Om, is a primordial sound from which all the other sounds come. The basic sound is A, then it becomes modulated in U, and then we have the Anuswara, it's not Om, but Om. So this is the primordial sound from which all the other sounds derive. So I am sound in space. So I think we were discussing about the Akash, or this element. It is a material element, is considered the subtlest of the gross material elements, which are earth, water, air, fire, and Akash, which is space or ether. Ether or space, Akash, is not just an empty space. It's an actual material element that supports the sound, that supports the waves, the radio waves, support the currents of energy, support the light even. So, and capability in human beings, already we mentioned last time, the Paurusham is the capability in the sense of creating things, building things, making things manifest. So this is obviously a divine quality. It's a quality of creation. So when the human beings are manifesting this capability, they're actually manifesting a divine power. So they are manifesting God. Until now, everything is clear.
Yes.
Okay. So we all have all these commentary. If we want to read, it's not difficult because we have the PDF on the website, the old website. Now we are preparing the new website. They will be there as well. Okay, so the verse 9. I am the good, or pure, the punya. Punya is it has a lot of meanings. The good smell in earth. I am the heat in fire. I am life in all beings, and I am austerity in ascetics. Okay, so we have seen, we are talking about the senses that we can perceive. This is why the bhakti is defined as Rishikesha Rishikena Sevanam. Bhakti Ruchate. Bhakti is defined as serving God through our senses. So the people who say that we should abstain from all sense gratification, they actually are superimposing Abrahamic delusions to the original teachings of Vedic knowledge, because Vedic knowledge never says that we should abstain from sense gratification. In fact, Vedic knowledge says that sense gratification is one of the 4 purusharthas, the 4 purposes of human life. So, Krishna has already established the senses of the eyesight, of the taste. Now he's talking about the smell, and he's talking about the touch. Heat in fire. Heat is one characteristic of the sense of touch, sparsha, because we can feel the heat through our skin. The skin is the sense organ that is connected to the sense of touch. So we can perceive heat through the sensors, the nervous terminations of our body that end up in the skin. So we touch something, immediately we can evaluate the temperature. So when Krishna says, I am the heat in fire, he's also referring to sense perception. And he's also referring to the ontological archetypes of reality. Like Agni is one of these manifestations, these vivid Namsa manifestations of God in this material world. So the Devas are not in the spiritual world, because the Devas, the position of the Devas, such as Agni, Vayu, Indra, Yama, and all the Devas, are not connected to, are not required for the transcendental existence of Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, what we call the spiritual world. Because all these devas are actually governing, representing, functioning as the material elements of the world, in the material world. So the main difference between the Swamsa and the Vinamsa manifestations of God is that the Swamsa are never changing. They are not positions. They are eternally existing, and they have no beginning and no end and no non-manifestation. So the concept, the tattva of Agni, for example, refers to the material world. In the spiritual world, the concept of Agni is only referred to the material world. It is clear until now.
Yes, so basically, like the concept of devtas are material, like whatever fire,
Exactly,
air.
exactly, exactly. But they're material in the sense that they apply to the material functions. In fact, all the devas, just like all the jivas, are parts of Brahman. The jivatmas that we that take the position of the devas in the material universe are much more evolved in consciousness than we are. So they're very similar to Bhagavan. So, because of this, they represent Bhagavan. Let's make an example with the government of a nation. Okay. Now, let's say the king. The king is giving his authority, his consciousness to the government ministers and officers. So the government officers are not acting separately from the king. The consciousness of the government officer are the same, it's very similar, practically the same as the consciousness of the king. But the government officers are always subordinate to the king because the king is creating them. But we cannot disrespect the government officers, because when we receive the government officer, we should receive the government officer in the same way we would receive the king, because whatever service and offering and everything we are presenting to the government officers is just like we were doing to the king. This is why Krishna is saying that those who worship the devas in order to obtain material benefits are actually worshipping God only, but without the proper understanding, the proper system, the proper knowledge. Avidhi means without the vidhi. So the idea is that the devas can act exactly like the king. They have the authority, they have the consciousness. So we can say they're devas. The word deva is used for Vishnu, is used for Shiva, is used for Bhagavan, and it is also used for all the devas who control and manage the material universe. Because they're deva, they're divine, they're resplendent, they're powerful. They are the tattva of existence. Agni is the source of existence of all forms of fire. It's not just an individual person. It's a concept. So Agni is not identifying with the limited physical gross material body. Agni is automatically present everywhere there is a fire, including in our stomach, Jataragni. So this is very similar to God's omnipresence. So Agni is also not limited by time, space, and individuality. Agni is everywhere. Every time you light a match, Agni is there. How can you be present at the same time everywhere? Because that is a divine characteristic. The omnipresence is a divine characteristic. We are also omnipresent, but that depends on our level of consciousness. Because our physical material body cannot be omnipresent. Our physical gross material body is limited by time, space, and individuality. It's not omnipresent. It's not omniscient. You understand how it works? That there is a difference. The devas are in between God as Bhagavan, Ishvara, and the jiva. They are neither jiva nor God, and they are both. So this means that a jiva who has developed sufficient consciousness, has evolved sufficiently consciousness, can function as a deva. In fact, if we achieve the required consciousness level, we can also become Krishna. We become Krishna in the sense that we enter Krishna. Vishate tadanantaram. Krishna is saying in Gita at least 2-3 times that the devotee, the person who's actually achieves, approaches Krishna, enters into Krishna. Of course, we don't become separate Krishnas. We don't become, like Pundraka. You know the story of Pundraka, someone who, was a king in the times of Krishna who decided that he was a real Krishna. So he was going around with, two extra arms, with some glue or something, I don't know. So he was pretending to be a separate Krishna. There is no separate Krishna. Krishna is one, without a second. So when we become Krishna, when we enter into Krishna, we become part of Krishna consciousness. This is the meaning of Krishna consciousness. Krishna is consciousness. And it's the supreme or absolute or complete consciousness of everything. So everything is in Krishna. Krishna is the existence of everything. He's saying here, I am the heat in fire. What is fire without heat? Nothing. I am life in all beings. Life is the Jivatma. The Atman. The Atman is not different from Brahman. And Brahman is not different in nature from Paramatma and Bhagavan. So, God is life in all beings in several layers of meaning. This is the beauty of the Vedic scriptures. They have, very deep levels, several levels of meanings, and they're all complementary. They all complete each other. It's a multi-dimensional existence of knowledge. So when God says, I am life in all beings, what is a being without life? It's not a being. And Krishna is not talking about the life in the body. Otherwise he would say, I am life in all bodies, not in all beings. So even the ghost is alive. He doesn't have a body, but he's alive. The body is not alive, but the being is alive. It exists. So, it is saying, Jivanam sarva bhuteshu, not sarva deheshu. Sarva bhuteshu, in all beings. Okay. Tapas chasmi tapasvisu. The austerity of the tapasvi. What is the austerity of the tapasvi? What is a tapasvi without a tapas? It's nothing. It doesn't exist. Is that clear?
Yeah, I need to revise.
Yeah. You see, the point is that, it's not just Hindus, you see. Everyone, all human beings have this capacity of understanding things at different levels. we can go for a Kanishta position, which is very superficial. We just, okay, we sit together, we have some nice bhajan, we recite the Shastra. We don't really study the Shastra. The Kanishta Dikari is not really understanding the Shastra, it's just reading them, reciting them. Because it's auspicious. Auspiciousness. They want blessings. They want, something good for themselves and even for others. Why not? If they're not selfish. But they don't have a very deep understanding. Then we have the Madhyama. The Madhyama Adhikari is someone who actually understands the Shastra, is really studying the Shastra, and is, striving to apply them in his own life. So he is the Pandit who is seeing everyone equally, because he sees the Atman. He sees the Atman and Paramatma in all beings. Then the Uttamadhikari is difficult to understand the Uttamadhikari because the Uttamadhikari doesn't see different beings. He only sees God in everywhere. So there are three different perspectives, and they're all true. But they're at different levels of understanding, of realization. So just reading the Gita to get an idea of what is written in Bhagavad Gita and avoiding the danger of misquoting, or thinking that Bhagavad Gita says things that it doesn't really say. This is already good. But what if we actually understand who Krishna is, what Krishna is? It's a totally different game. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see next. And 10, explaining better even. O Partha, know that I am the eternal seed of all existences, of all beings. What is the seed? The origin, the primordial existence is the non-manifested. The seed is a plant that is not manifested, right? When you have a mustard seed, you don't have a mustard plant. A mustard seed is a mustard plant that is non-manifested. A banyan seed, they also have seeds, but the seed is non-manifested, yet it can manifest. Inside the seed there is the entire banyan tree. You understand? So when Krishna says, I am the eternal seed of all existences, it means that this is manifested and non-manifested, because the eternal, within eternity there are cycles of manifestation and non-manifestation. So when Krishna says eternal, he is not speaking about the manifestation stage. He's speaking about the non-manifested, which is present also in the manifested. It's eternal. It's always there. He said, I am intelligence in the intelligent. Again, right. If someone, a person who we call intelligent has no intelligence, we should change vocabulary. And I am the powerful radiance of the powerful. So the Tejas, Tejasvinam Aham. The Teja is the power, but not in the sense of Shakti. It's in the sense of radiance. Okay. Then we have 11. O best of the Bharat dynasty, Arjuna, I am the strength of the strong who is free from loss of selfishness and attachment. In all beings, I am the sexual desire that is not contrary to Dharma. Okay, this part is interesting because from the sense perception, Krishna is moving to the action. And is specifically talking about the behavior of human beings. So, starting from the the body, the bodily senses, then it's coming to the subtle senses, subtle functions, mind and intelligence. Now it's coming to the action. Why the strength of the strong must be free from kamaraga. Kama means desire, selfishness, lust, and raga means attachment. Vivarjitam. Because when a strong person is conditioned by kama and raga, his actions are not divine. They are not dharmic. They are not meant to support the entire universal community, which is the body of God, as we will see later on, when Krishna will show Arjuna the universal form. So, whenever we apply force, we should keep it clean and free from kama and raga. This means we can apply force. We must apply force when it is needed, but without kama and without raga, which means without ahankara and mamata. Many people think that non-violence means to be always nice to everyone. Even if people are coming and killing your entire family, taking, torching your house and destroying your temple, you need to be nice. Because it's all illusion after all, who cares? No, that's not a fact. We need to destroy adharma. So when I found out that the how is it called? Jayadvani, when you say Dharma ki jai ho, right? And I was very happy to hear Adharma ki nash ho. So, pranayan main, kalyana ho. It's all the beings should get benefit. And this can only be done by supporting dharma and by destroying adharma. Like Krishna is saying Gita, paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkitam dharma sanstapanartha ya sambhavami yuge yuge. It's not just upholding dharma. You also need to take action to destroy adharma. And what is adharma? We need to understand the difference between dharma and adharma. Because if we are, this is coming from knowledge, from intelligence and knowledge. Because ignorance, tamas, we confuse the mind so that at some point we will think that dharma is adharma and the other way around. This is very clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita. The three types of intelligence according to the three gunas. The sattvic intelligence is very clear. It shows us things as they are. The rajasic type of intelligence doesn't see much difference between dharma and adharma because It's whatever you want, you like, whatever you follow, whatever you choose, whatever is convenient for you. So they come out with the stupid idea that dharma just means religion. So there, accordingly, there must be a Christian dharma, a Muslim dharma, and criminal dharma, and stuff like that. But that's stupid, because dharma is not whatever you like to think it's dharma. That is rajas. That is a rajasic type of mentality. And the tamasic mentality regularly mistakes the one for the other. Whatever is dharma, they believe it's adharma. Whatever is adharma, they believe it's dharma. And they even enforce it on other people, because they think they're the only guardians of dharma who really know what dharma is about. And this is tamas, this is ignorance. So like recently I was appalled by reading that, the biggest the biggest authority on dharma and Hindutva in India came out with the idea that in order to support social harmony, Hindus should eat beef, should kill the cows and eat the cows. It's like, what? So what is that? That is tamas, total tamas. We've gone through, rajas is not even in the picture anymore. We have just come to the deepest tamas. So, this is due to ignorance. We cannot establish a Hindu Rashtra without knowing what Hindu means. If we think and say that Hindu is whoever lives in India and is of Indian race and lives in India, he's a Hindu, that's like, it's appalling. So what about all these Hindu activists and, who are, okay, even those who are of Indian race, Indian origin, okay. But say they live in the United States, or they live in United Kingdom, they live in Mauritius, they live in, what, they're not Hindus? And what about the people, the Indians who live in India? They should be considered Hindus even if they are, Islamist activists, even if they are Catholic cardinals. They are living in India, they were born in India, they're Indian origin, so they're Hindus. So this is the problem. So the strength of the strong, who's free from lust, selfishness, and attachment, means that the strong must actually be under sattva, must be supported by sattva, not supported by rajas and tamas. So what is lust or selfishness if not rajas? And what is attachment is if not tamas? So here Krishna is saying that whenever you want to apply strength, you need to be situated at least in sattva guna. And the original of the sattva guna is sat. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat is the original of sattva. So when we are in sattva, we can rise to the Shuddha sattva, the origin of sattva, the source of sattva, which is Sat, which is God. Okay, so in all beings I am the sexual desire that is not contrary to dharma, if we understand what dharma means, then this verse makes much more sense. If we think that dharma means religious affiliation, religious traditions, customs, laws, and everything, then we don't understand anything. Then we are completely out of, out of touch with reality. Anyway, there is some, more explanation in the elaboration, you can see. So let's go. We still have a little bit of time for today. We can go to verse 12. Okay. You should know that certainly all these forms of existence created by sattva, rajas, and also tamas come from me, but I am not in them. Rather, they are in me. What is the meaning of that? So everything that exists is a manifestation, is a creation, is based on the existence of God, because God is omnipresent. So all the forms of existence, bhava. Bhava means state of being. Whether they are in sattva or they are more, limited by material restrictions, because rajas is more restricted than sattva and tamas is even more restricted than rajas. But even tamas is a quality that is controlled, that is originated from God and exists in God. But they are in me, says Krishna. I am not in them. So all forms of manifested existence are not independently God, but they must be used, they must be engaged, they must be seen and managed in connection with the origin, in connection with God, because God is very clear. God is dharma. So even tamas can be engaged in dharma. How you can engage tamas in dharma? By going to sleep in the night. Sleep is definitely tamas. So, okay, we engage the guna guneshu vartante, we engage tamas in the aspect of tamas that is sleepiness. So, we sleep in connection to God in the sense that we want to take care of this body in order to work for the benefit of all beings. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay. So, last one, I think. 13. Under the conditions of existence created by the three gunas, this world does not understand me as I am inexhaustible and transcendental. So God is not limited in any way. God is everything that exists and even more, which is difficult to understand because we don't have that experience on the material level. In the material existence, we don't have this experience of something that is inexhaustible and transcendental. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Yes, I think we can stop here. Verse 13. You have any questions, observations, comments? Not
No.
particularly.
Jai
Tell.
Jagannath.
Yeah. I was asking if you have any observations, comments, doubts, questions, suggestions, anything.
No, that Devas part which you explained earlier, I'll go through that again. I'll try to understand that better.
Okay, so we are we are learning to understand Krishna as Krishna actually is. Uh,
Yeah.
Not just on the external level as a cute baby eating the butter, which is also good. It's not bad. But it's not an ordinary baby by any means. By any length. Okay, so thank you very much for your support and participation. You are giving the opportunity to talk about these very important things.
Thank you
So,
for giving your time.
okay, we thank each other, which is very good. So, to next time, Jai, Jai Jagannath.
Jai Jagannath.